Hey guys, so I thought I'd do a quick recording to help you guys figure out how to use GitHub so that I don't have to make all the bug fixes myself. It's great that you guys are helping out with making the actual fixes, but then I have to go and merge them, and it gets painful and annoying really, really quick. So I figured I'd put this together real quick just to show you what you can do with GitHub so that you're making your own fixes and you get credit for it. It'll be great. The only assumptions I'm making are that you know how to use Visual Studio, you know how to use GitHub to at least the degree of making an account, and that you have SourceTree installed. SourceTree is a tool that I use to manage my GitHub and my Git repositories on my local machine. It started out as a really good Mac program that I used at work, and they have a nice Windows offering that I've enjoyed. I'm not going to download it here and install it because I figure that you're all savvy enough you can figure that out on yourself. But what I will do is go through what I have. So I'm going to go ahead and open up SourceTree. And so when you're first starting SourceTree, the first thing you'll need to do is you'll need to get ServUO down to your computer. Best way to do this if you plan on making bug fixes is just to go to the website github.com and go to /servuo/servuo. This will put you here. Once you've logged in, you'll be able to click on this fork button in the top right. When you click on fork, you'll see a bunch of organizations and users. If you are a part of any, you'll go ahead and click on you, and it will go ahead and it'll fork that repository. A fork is basically just a copy of that repository on your account. It mirrors most of the permissions of the original, and it's useful because it allows you to make changes with push access that you wouldn't otherwise have. So if I want to make a change to this code and then get it out to the core repository, I can make a push here and then do what's called a pull request, which we'll cover in a little bit. And that pull request can then be reviewed by the core team and determined whether it should be pulled in or not. So once you have our lovely little fork here, and you'll know you're in your fork. If you look in the top left, it'll say public, your username, /servuo, forked from servuo. The thing we want off of this page is this HTTPS cloned URL. You can go ahead and say copy to clipboard. Then we go ahead and open up SourceTree. In SourceTree, you're going to head and clone a repository, not add a working copy. Then what you're going to do is you're going to paste that URL that we got, and then you're going to choose a destination path. So for me, I do all my development on D drive in development, and I want this to be at /servuo. So go ahead and leave all the rest of this alone, hit clone. What it's going to do is go out to your fork, and it's going to start pulling down all that data to your local computer, save it off to the left over here, and then you'll have access to it. While that's going ahead, I'm just going to talk to you real quick. What we're going to be doing today is I'm just going to take this code, which was from Denjiki. Pick an easier name, bro. Denjiki's code to fix the slasher of Veils. So we're going to go ahead and merge this code into the core. We're going to push it up into our fork, and then we're going to initiate a pull request that someone on the developer team could review and pull, like myself. So now that we have this, we can look ServUO. There are 3 tabs down here. The one that I find the easiest to work with is log/history. And what this does is it shows you a history of all the changes made to this repository. And you can see where all the branches, otherwise known as heads, where all the heads are pointing at. So you can see that the origin master, which is my fork, the origin head, which is always the head of a repository regardless of where master is, and my local master are all at this latest commit, which is a merge. So what we're going to do is, I made the assumption again that you know how to use Visual Studio, so I'm going to open up ServUO, and I'm going to just open up Visual Studio. I have another tool on here that I'll be using in this that is replaceable. I use Beyond Compare and a plugin for Visual Studio to do comparisons. The reason that's important is because if you don't do a comparison, then you could break something. You could undo You could undo one of my changes or someone else's changes and do bad things that make people mad at you. Yeah, we'll go with that. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and set this as my startup project so that I can build. And what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go open up scripts. And I'm really bad at finding things, so I just go ahead and copy the class name and its type, or what it's extending. Go ahead and do a search in the current project for it. So that'll pull up the /Avails for me. And then if I really care where it is in the files, I can do it right there. So you'll see this one's in scripts, services, quests, peerless system, /Avails. So what we want to do is, for me, like I said, I have some add-ons to help me with this. I'll go ahead and copy the file, the changes to my clipboard. If I was Dengeki, I would just make the changes to the latest code. I'm going to go ahead and run my plugin, which is Compare with Clipboard, which opens up Beyond Repair. I can see some differences. So he went ahead and added the unique SA list. Oh, nope. So this is why this is important. So a couple of publishes ago, I added in the sign of chaos and separated it into both the human and Gargish sign of chaos. As you can see here, his code doesn't have those changes. In fact, his code, it wants to overwrite my changes, and if he were to overwrite my changes, he would break stuff because there is no longer just a sign of chaos, as denoted here. That file doesn't exist anymore. So this is why it's important to do this. You don't want to just paste files over, because then you'll end up deleting important things. So here's the real change. So basically what he does is he just adds the public bool, always murder. So we'll just go ahead, I'll pull that across and save. So when I come in here, it'll let me know it got messed up out of this file. So there it is, always murder. So now that we have that in there, we can go ahead and hit save. If we open up source tree and go in here, you'll see it says uncommitted changes once it updates. Once you're in the uncommitted changes, you'll see your /avails.cs down here. So you go ahead and pull that up here. In Git, you have working copy, stage, and your actual repository, which has a local version and a remote version. In this case, what I have here is I just moved the /avails changes from the working copy to the stage. Stage is where everything goes that the next commit will grab. So I'm going to go ahead and hit commit. Now, one of the things that we do on this project is we want to make sure that we have a bare minimum change per commit. So if you change 20 different weapons, make 20 different commits, one for each weapon. It just makes it really easy for people who are coming back to make the changes that they need to make. If they want to pull in some code but not others, they know where they can pull to, they know what to cherry pick out. So then what we want to do is we're going to say add our commit message. So the best way to do commit messages is to start with a verb. For example, in this case, we are adding, so we're going to say adds always murderer flag to /avails. That's all you need. Since I'm currently doing this for someone else, I'll go ahead and do fixed courtesy of Dengeki. If this was Dengeki doing it, just omit the fixed courtesy part. Just say adds always murderer flag to /avails. And then you can go ahead and hit commit. Once you've hit a commit, you'll notice that your local master is now one ahead of your remote repository, which means that this change, add always murderer flag, will not be up here. Remember, this is my fork, so if I go ahead and hit refresh, you'll see that the latest commit is still the merge pull request, which is this one. So what we'll go ahead and do, we'll hit push, and we want to push to origin, we want to push to master. It'll go ahead and push that out. You'll see now everything's up to date, and if we come over here and hit refresh, the latest code push was add always murder flag to /avails. So now that we're at this point, we can initiate a pull request. So what does that mean? The pull request is this button here, and it will automatically compare servuo master to your master. It'll tell you all the differences: one commit, one file change, one contributor. So we can see that this is the change. You can hit create pull request, add in any messages you want here and here, hit send pull request. That's it. This button won't appear for you. You won't be able to merge your own pull requests. But what that means is it frees me up to come in, and I can go ahead and go to Serve UO. I can hit pull requests, and I'll see any existing pull requests. When I come in here, I can go ahead and say, okay, let me look at the file. Yep, that looks good. And then I can hit merge pull request and confirm merge. And now, if I go to the core, you'll see that the core has the latest add always murder flag to slasher avails. Now, one important thing is when you are making changes or bug fixes, you always want to make sure you're working off the latest code. The best way to do this that gives you the best, cleanest Git history is to do what's called rebasing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to find something, anything. I'm going to add an enter. I'm going to add a return, just something so that we can see. So if I come over to source tree, I'll do a refresh and I add the slasher avails. Okay. So the reason we want to do this is because we want this to merge nicely. So we're going to head and push that in there. We're going to hit commit. We're going to say blank return just for now. And go ahead and hit commit. Do not, so now you're one ahead, do not push this to your origin master. That will cause problems. You'll hate yourself. I'll hate you. It'll just be a mess for everybody. So what you're going to do is you're going to hit repository settings, and you're going to be in this remotes tab. What we're going to do is we're going to add a remote. We're going to call it upstream, and in the URL path we're going to get that from serveuo, not our fork, but the actual serveuo. We're going to head and copy that to clipboard, and we're going to paste it here. Go ahead and hit OK. Now you'll have two remotes. So hit OK, and if you go ahead and refresh this, you should see the upstream remote has to be fetched. So I'll go ahead and fetch that. Okay, so now you'll see we have this kind of unclean state of history. So the whole point is we want this to merge in, but we want this history to stay nice and clean like this. So what we go ahead and do is we are going to go ahead and say pull, and pull from remote. So basically what I'm saying is I want to pull from the core master branch. I want to pull in everything, and I want to do a rebase instead of a merge. So what this means is instead of trying to merge the files like a zipper, what it's going to do is it's going to take my changes, it's going to pull them off to the side, it's going to pull down all the other changes from the core, and then put my changes on top. So if I go ahead and hit OK, it'll do the pull, and it will end up giving you something like this, where so you can see right here, it pulled in this, and it took away my blank return, and then pulled this down to stack it, and then put the blank return on top of that, giving me this really pretty, nice history. Now I can go ahead and push, and you could push that to origin master. You could go ahead and make a pull request just like you normally would, and then I can go ahead and handle that like I normally would. And that's all. That's all there is to it. Basically what this does really is it just gives you guys the power to put those bug fixes straight into GitHub. Hopefully there's enough information in this little video to get you there, and if it's not, I may take a more structured approach, write some stuff down, and try this again later. But this is a good first draft at it. If you do need any help, you can hit me up on IRC or in this thread, and I would be happy to assist to the best that I can. Anyway, thanks for all your help, guys. Let's keep making this community the best. Thanks.